What is interest tracking software? So at its basic definition, it's just a computer program that captures information about your audience.
Hello again and welcome to the Propel podcast, inspiration and innovation to grow your church. I'm your host, Larry Witzel. If God has given you big dreams for growing His kingdom, then this is the podcast for you. Our goal is to offer practical training for effective evangelism in the Seventh-day Adventist ministry context, but we know that the principles we talk about here are applicable in many other churches as well. So wherever you're doing ministry, welcome to the Propel podcast. Get ready because our next Propel conference is just a couple months away, coming to Tacoma, Washington, April 27 to 30, 2025. This 4-day event is your chance to join a community of like-minded leaders who are redefining what's possible in church growth and evangelism. You'll gain groundbreaking insights, practical training, and fresh ideas to take your ministry to the next level. Early bird registration ends soon, so register your entire church leadership team today at propelconference.org. Don't wait. Go to propelconference.org to register today. We're looking forward to seeing you there. This episode features Luci Peterson, Director of Product Development at SermonView. With expertise in communications and technologies, she's built over 700 websites, developed nearly 50 applications, and is a key contributor to Interest Tracker, the cloud-based CRM for Adventist churches used by over 1,850 churches in North America alone. An artist, writer, and traveler, Luci is driven by a passion for ministry and sharing God's love. In this presentation, Luci shares how trust and strong relationships are essential for a healthy church community. She introduces Interest Tracker, a simple tool that helps churches stay organized and connected with people. The software makes it easy to track decisions, manage contacts, and follow up with individuals. It also gives leaders a clear view of what's happening in their church. Luci encourages everyone to try it out and experience the transformation of your church's outreach. You can actually learn more about Interest Tracker at interesttracker.org. Before we get started, though, I want to take a moment to highlight our sponsor, SermonView. SermonView's mission is to help churches like yours make a greater impact in your community for Christ by equipping you with innovative tools for digital evangelism and outreach. If you're planning an evangelistic series or a bridge event, SermonView's multi-touch advertising approach is designed to bring more people through your doors. They can also turn your church website into an evangelistic engine, making it more visible in your local community. Plus, their new video service provides personalized coaching to help you create impactful, short-form videos that help you share Christ's message online. Over 2,500 churches have already transformed their outreach with SermonView. If you're ready to take your ministry to the next level, visit sermonview.com to learn more about their powerful suite of tools and services. Okay, let's turn to Luci Peterson's presentation in the Evangelism Tech Breakout Track at the 2024 Propel Conference. Her topic, the power of interest tracking software.
Facilitating authentic relationships in the church, because as Adventists we're really good at developing programs and we're really good at publications. I believe we're also really good at relationships, where we can be really good at relationships. And I know that from my experience working with people that if you don't have that relationship or that rapport of trust with someone and they don't feel safe, they're not going to be able to retain the information that they're getting. And so, yeah. That's right, yeah. And so from brain science, like when your brain, when you feel fear, your brain goes into like a survival mode, and it can't actually retain information. So we have to build that trust. Interest tracking software is a tool to kind of help facilitate those relationships, that relationship building, and I'll kind of go over why, and then we'll have a little demo, okay? And I just have to make a little correction to the title because I don't know who came up with this title. It wasn't me. But I just have to correct it because interest tracking software doesn't actually have any power. It's the power of Christ in you while using it, right? So that's the actual title. And what is interest tracking software? So at its basic definition, it's just a computer program that captures information about your audience, particularly their contact information and their interactions with you and with the content that you are publishing through your communication channels, which I would hope would lead to a communication with a real person as well, right? So it's capturing that information and it's storing it all in one place so that you can more easily see it and work with it. And this can take many different forms. So actually, we're going to go back to that one. There are a lot of different software suites out there that have interest tracking features in them. So you might recognize some of these logos, they're towards the top. You're going to find CRMs or customer relationship managers that businesses use for their sales funnels and stuff. And those have interest tracking features in them. Churches can utilize those. However, they can be really expensive. They usually are really expensive. And they also have a lot of things that a church doesn't need, like for tools for selling and for money-related stuff like quotes and invoices and stuff. A church doesn't need that sort of stuff. And they also take a lot of time and a lot of skill to set them up and configure them. So big companies actually pay full-time employees to set up and configure and manage their CRM software because it's so customizable that you really have to tailor it to the industry that you're working in. And so the church would face that challenge if using one of those, and additionally just kind of hacking it to be used for a church when it's meant for a business. So, but those features are there. It is a possible choice. You also have your church management software that has interest tracking features in it most times. You have eAdventist, which I'm sure you are familiar with, and then Planning Center is a really popular one, or Church Center, some people call it. And church management software can sometimes have a cost to it as well. They usually have some kind of limited free version or a free trial that you can do. But usually there is a cost to it. Yeah, well, and they have to fund the development of it, and having software requires you to maintain the security protocol, so you have to do constant updates with it, and they have to pay people to do that stuff. So one I actually didn't include on this slide is I've seen a lot of churches actually just use spreadsheets, like Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets. That's kind of an old school way of just keeping track of your contacts in a spreadsheet, and a lot of churches still do that, and that's okay. That's a way of doing it. And if you're a skilled technologist, or you understand formulas and macros and integrations and stuff, you can make it do a lot of cool things. Yeah. But most of those features are already built into these kind of software these days. So I think if a piece of technology isn't making it easier for you and fulfilling its purpose for you, then it's taking away from your mission. So just, but that is an option, like especially if it's a small scale, like temporary outreach endeavor that you're doing. And then we have Interest Tracker over here. Interest Tracker is the one I'm going to be showing you today. It's a little bit different than everything else that's on here because it's a CRM or a customer relationship manager type software, except it's designed for Adventist churches to use for outreach. Designed by an Adventist for Adventists. And it has like the interest tracking features in this program are the star of the show. And that feature set is free to any church in the North American division forever. So you don't have to worry about a free trial or anything like that. There are add-ons that you can get, but they're true add-ons and they're not like limiting using the software, okay? The other great thing about Interest Tracker is that it's easy to get started using. Because it is designed for Adventist churches, all you have to do is create an account, put in your name, your email, a password, choose your church, and you're ready to start using it. Like there's no configuration needed. There are customizations that you can do if you want, but you don't have to do that. And so I'm going to show you an example, but I want to go through like the benefits that you're going to get from using interest tracking software, whichever one you choose. Free your mind from focusing on logistical things, remembering all the information about people, remembering where did you write down their contact information, which device was it on, where do I look it up. All the information is in one place, you know where to go. If you forget something, it's there. And that also allows you to pass on the information to your team easily. As pastors and ministry leaders, we can't do it all ourselves, right? So we have to have a team, and sometimes there's turnover on our teams. Somebody leaves a role and another person comes in. The person coming in can now have that same information, know where that person left off with them, and make sure that nobody gets forgotten about. And then also, with having all of your information in one place, it gives you more visibility. So you can really see like reports. It gives you like an overview of everything that's going on in your church. So, and you can see the information in different ways through reports, through metrics, and sort it and filter it, and it just helps you make better decisions as a leader, right, when you're more informed. So these are kind of the three primary benefits you're going to get from using interest tracking software, and if your software isn't doing these things, what's the point, right?
It could be better.
Right. So I'm going to show a little example. So this is our demo SDA church in Demo, Washington, and Pastor Sherman. And what's Pastor Sherman holding in his hand? And yeah, the newspaper, right? The good news. The good news. And then we have our neighbors. So we have people in the community surrounding the church, and they're dealing with difficult or challenging life experiences. They're asking, why did bad things happen? They are confused about their identity. And we need some way for Pastor Sherman to get that newspaper over to them, right? But we can't just deliver it, right? It needs to be delivered in a way that they're able to receive it. And the Holy Spirit has created this beautiful way of doing that, called relationship. And relationship is made up of all of these little interactions, okay, over time with people where we're building trust with them. So I'll show you what that looks like using the software. Wherever it is. There we go. So I'm not going to show you how to create an account because, like I said, it's so easy. Just name, email, password, church. You're done. You're ready. I just created this one, brand new church, and this is what it looks like when you first log in. It says, let's get you up and running. Not because there are configurations that you have to do, but we just need to start adding contacts. And there are a couple of different ways to add them. So the first one is just typing them in manually. So we'll put somebody in here that maybe we've met. So we're going to name this person Wendy Day. And the cool thing about this is that you don't have to know all this information about someone to add them. Even if you don't know their first name or their last name, you can just put Mrs. Day. And then as you're continuing that relationship with them and learning more about them, you can keep filling that in with more info. But we know she's from Vancouver, Washington. So we'll put that. And we don't know her phone number. But let's say we know her age range. And the other thing we want to do, I hope this works after I got disconnected from the internet. Let's say we know her email too. So her email is wday@example.com. And the other thing we want to do here is we want to tag her. So tags in this program are very important, and it's a very robust system, meaning you can do a lot with it. But it's a good way, when you tag your contacts, it's a good way of being able to reference them later or sort them later. And so I always recommend that people tag every single contact, and it's usually a tag that has to do with where you met them or where that contact came from. Yeah. So let's say we know Wendy let's say she came to Adventist Community Services and talked to one of our volunteers over there, and that's how we know her. So we're actually going to put the tag ACS. And it's easy to create a tag. All you have to do is type it and then hit enter, and it creates that tag, so now you can reuse that tag for anybody else.
So is there a search somewhere where you could pull up all the ACS people?
Yes. Yeah, so when you go...
Just go on YouTube, the tags.
Yeah, you can actually look at all the tags that you have, and under those tags are a list of everybody tagged with that. Or you have a main interest list is what it's called in here, where you can see everybody and search. You can search by tag as well. You can also add multiple tags if you want to. But we're just going to add this one for her. And let's say we also know that she's, let's put other for her, because maybe she told us she was agnostic. Now we have what they call interests. We have one interest. So in this program, contacts are called interests. Some people call them leads. Some people call them leads. It's all the same thing, but I do encourage you to use use terminology that doesn't, separate you from the person's humanity, right? Like when I was in social work, we had clients, but we weren't allowed to call them clients. If they were a child, we called them children or child, and if they were an adult, we called them a customer, because that, gave them more respect. So now we have one interest here, and there's another way of adding interests, which is importing them. So this is a common situation where when you create your account, you probably already have a few people that you've been talking to. So let's say that you have them on a spreadsheet. Let me see if I can pull that up, actually. So let's say you have them on a spreadsheet, and I've put here first name, last name, phone, email. I put their contact info, and I also have their religious background here because I want the context for how to approach spiritual conversations with them. So I'm recording that. I'm choosing to record that information. So there's an easy way to import a spreadsheet into this program. There's one thing you have to do first, which is you have to convert it into what's called a CSV file, because that's the only file that this program will accept. Most of them do only accept CSVs. That's just standard. So if you have a regular Excel file, you can go to File, Save As, and just make sure when you save it that you're choosing the CSV format from the list. And then that's all you have to do. So then I've already done it with this one. So I'm going to go to, on your menu here, you have interests and then import. And so these are automatically checked by default. So file contains header row, that just means where I put first name, last name, etc. at the top of my spreadsheet. If you have those headings on there, then you want to leave that checked, because what it does is it reads those and it tries to match them up with the fields so that they go in the right spot. And then of course you want to, like I said, you want to tag these people. So I'm just going to tag them pre-interest tracker contacts. And then add this one, add new religious backgrounds. That's always checked by default. I can't think of a reason to uncheck it, but basically what that does is if you have religious background as a column on there and there's something in there that isn't already in the default options, then it'll automatically add it for you. So just always check. I would say always just keep that checked. And then hit parse CSV. And now it should be, is it still online? There we go. So now it's showing us that it's matched up those column headings with those fields. And you always just want to check and make sure that it chose the right ones. And if it didn't, you can fix it by just clicking the drop-down menu and choosing the right one. But for this one, if you name your columns logically, it will usually pick the right ones. So we're going to go ahead and import. And takes a second to process. And now it's showing us we have 13 interests. And you'll notice that our dashboard looks different now. It doesn't say, let's get you up and running anymore. And now it shows you some metrics. There's not a lot of information of value here yet because we just got started. But But you can now go to your interest list from here and see that you have 13 people now. And they're all tagged the way that we tagged them. So let's get to the interactions. So if we view one of these people, we can see their profile. And also from their profile, you can add a picture of them as well. If you want to add a picture to help you recognize them or help other people recognize them.
If they'd be okay with it, that's a great.
Yeah.
You see so many people.
Yeah.
Trying to connect the name and the faces.
Like sometimes sometimes on my phone contacts, I add a picture of the person. So yeah, that feature's there if you want to use it. And then there are just several ways you can add other associated information for people.
Helps you just differentiate, that's all.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're going to, I guess we can do that if you guys like. Let's change it, or let's add one. That's what it looks like, and then we can save that. So now we can see what this person looks like. I think it also helps us to add their picture because we're able to see them as a person when we're working on this, and we're looking at their face and not just seeing them as a number, right? So as you can see, there are several other things that you can add here. So let's say the first one that we typically see is we want to add a note, right? We want to say, like, how did we meet this person? So I think we met him through our nursing home outreach. So let's say met Ferris at nursing home, demo nursing home. And we also want to put notable information about him, like he is in a wheelchair and has limited mobility. And we're going to save that. And then we want to and let's say that when we met Ferris, we invited him to church, but he said that he couldn't come because he doesn't know if the church has accessibility to get in the entrance or to sit in the sanctuary. And so he's nervous about coming. He doesn't want to come all the way there and then have to leave because of that. And so we let him know that all churches are required to have wheelchair accessibility. And he would like to see what that looks like. He wants a video of that or a picture of that. So we're going to add an interaction for that, about that conversation. And that's going to be home visit. And it's going to be Ferris doesn't want to come to church because he needs to see that church is accessible. Explained all churches are required to have wheelchair ramps. He would like to see a picture next time I come, and conversation. And let's say that was last Sabbath. We can put the date that that interaction happened, save it. And so now we've had this interaction with him, and we need to follow up on this, right? Because he requested more information from us. So now we have this follow-up. So we're going to actually assign ourselves a follow-up for the next time that we come. So maybe we do this once a month on the fourth Sabbath. So we're going to set it for that date. We're going to say, take a video of the front and inside accessibility of the church and show it to Ferris. Save. So now we have a to-do item assigned to us. So one thing that is really useful about this program is that you can see information in different ways. So on this menu over here, you not only can you see the to-do on their profile, you can also see it in a list form or a calendar form, because you don't want to have to open up their profile every time you want to see if there's a to-do for that person. You want to be able to see all your to-do items or all your follow-ups on one list. So you can go to the to-do list, and here you can see your follow-up, and you can do different things with it. Here, you also have your calendar.
Oh, and you can assign it to people.
Yep,
Yeah.
you can assign it to people. It shows you your list on the top, and then, it shows you on the day as well, and you can click on it and go see the details. So yeah, definitely use those different views to help you manage those. So now we also have something else that Ferris requested. He wanted a Bible study guide because he couldn't come to church. So he requested a Bible study guide from us. And so this is something a little bit different because there's a physical item that they requested to be delivered to them. And we call that an offer request. So we're going to add that, and we're going to choose an offer. So I don't think these are the usual defaults. This is just on the demo. But there are some default offers that you can choose from, like Bible studies and stuff like that. And you can add whatever offers you're offering, like whatever your church is giving out. Like if you're giving out Steps to Christ, if you're giving out Bible studies, if like our church gives out like a little travel cup to people when they fill out their visitor card. So you could make one that says travel cup. So just anything that they're requesting from you to give to them. And so we're just going to choose God Cares Bible Study, the date that he requested it, and we're going to assign it to ourselves because we're the only person in here right now. And we're also planning to visit him later, right? So we're going to save this offer request, and now that appears here. So then a month passes. We go back to the nursing home, and we've taken a video of the front of the church. We've gone in, taken a video of the inside of it to show where you can sit in a wheelchair inside. And we showed it to Ferris. And so we're going to go ahead and finish this. It's kind of hard to see, but this little button says finish. And when you click that, it doesn't just let you check it off. Because whenever you finish a follow-up, that's another interaction.
Right.
So it prompts you to record that interaction in order to check that off. So we're going to put home visit again. We're going to say we showed Ferris a video of the accessibility at the church. He said thank you. He will think about coming. And, maybe we realized, we're going to put the date that we did that. And maybe we realized that in conversation with him that wasn't the real reason that he didn't want to come to church. He just needed an excuse because he wasn't ready. But it's still okay because we still had an interaction with him, and now we've built trust because we did what we said we were going to do when we said we were going to do it.
Water that seed.
Yeah, so even if he doesn't come, it's still building that relationship. And then we also gave him the Bible study guide that he requested. So there's another button on the offer request that says deliver. So when you click deliver, you're going to put the date that you gave it to them. And you're going to put who did it, and it usually just fills it with the person it's assigned to. But, there might be a case when somebody else had to do it, you were sick or whatever. And you can put delivery notes like gave Ferris the Bible study. He told him let me know if he has any questions or wants to talk about it. And then it prompts you to add a follow-up when you deliver this, right? Because if you're delivering a Bible study or literature about God, you want to follow up with that person to see, how did you like that? Was there anything that you had questions about? Is there, you don't just want to leave it in their court to contact you. You want to make sure you follow up. It is optional, but I always recommend add follow-up. So you can do that in the same action. You assign it to yourself for the following fourth Sabbath. Check with Ferris about God Cares Bible Study Guide. And then we're going to deliver this. So now we can see that we've delivered this Bible study guide to him, and it records when we delivered it and who delivered it. And then it also added another follow-up action for us at the same time, and it added an interaction for when we delivered it to him too. So it's like a whole workflow that's built in, that's designed to build relationship with someone, to build a trusting relationship with someone, because it's a cycle of interaction to request, to follow up, and then back again, right? And it's this process of building trust. And you're recording that so that your team can see it if they need to, or anybody else can follow up with that person if they need to. And then you see this little section up here that says decisions. At some point, hopefully they make a decision. And this doesn't have to be a big decision. Like, these have default choices in here for decisions. These are the usual ones when you're doing evangelism that you're looking for. But you can add any decision that you want in here. Like, if you're just maybe Ferris, maybe, that's a good one. We can add that here as well. But let's say he decides to keep the Sabbath. Maybe he's not to attending church yet, but maybe he wants to keep the Sabbath in his own way at the nursing home. So we're going to choose that. And we can actually say Ferris is moved to keep the Sabbath. I mean, you can put whatever you talked about with him. And we'll put the date. And save decision. So now we can see the decisions that he's made over the time that you've been building relationship with him. And if you hover over it, you can see like any notes that you put about that. So that's the built-in workflows that help you build relationships with people. So let's go back to our interest list and let's see, what time is it? Yeah, let's add a couple more people here. So let's add somebody, like what's an outreach that your churches are doing? Like I can kind of make it tailored to that. Like what kind of outreach are your churches doing right now?
This would be really good for like our school parents. We have a school on campus.
Okay.
And to track all the parents, all the families that come.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
would be a really good.
That's great. So let's
40
put,
kids, so that's,
Oh.
that's 80 parents.
Yeah,
Ish. And then you got aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents who drop off the kids. And
wonderful.
so,
Yeah. So let's say, okay, so let's put a couple of parents in here, like, oh, that's just saying I started typing and there was somebody already in there with that name. So like, let's think of a name, like strawberry shortcake is like the mom, I guess.
Okay.
We're gonna put like a couple of parents in here. They live in Vancouver, and we're gonna tag them, or we're gonna put their email address, shortcake@example.com, and we're gonna tag them with something. We're gonna tag them school. And we're going to go ahead and save and close that. And then we're going to add dad. Well, actually, let's add a different parent. Let's add like, let's add rainy day. And say we pretend we know their phone number. And they live in Demo. And we're gonna save and close that. Okay, what's another example? Oh, did I forget to tag them? Oh, I did. Well, good, because I can now show you the bulk edit area. So if you forget to tag someone, or if you need to make edits to multiple people, you can actually just select them, go to bulk edit interests, and you can go to tags to add, and we want to add school to this person. Apply to interests, and now we've tagged that person that we forgot to tag. And what's another ministry that your church, another outreach ministry that your churches have, like, or that you're thinking about, like?
We have a Bring a Friend Day once a quarter when members invite family, friends.
Okay.
And we make it special and maybe have some special meat or whatever.
Okay, awesome. So let's do that one. So let's add Foggy Day. And they're from Demo, Washington. And we're going to tag them, Bring a Friend Day. And hopefully they gave us their email address. And we're gonna close that. So now we're getting a pretty good list here. And we want to involve our team. We want to involve our ministry team. And so Interest Tracker is designed for that. It's designed for the pastor to not have to do everything. You want to have a leader in your church, maybe an associate pastor or another leader, an intern maybe come in and be the coordinator. So that person's job is to keep track of all of the new contacts that are being added and make sure that they get paired up with somebody to keep in touch with them. So let's add a coordinator to our church. So if we we have this menu, user management, here on the side. We're going to add our coordinator, add new user. And we're just going to name this person associate pastor. And we're going to give them an email address. It's just auto filling it with my information, but so then here in this role field, that's where you make them a coordinator. You're the church admin, and the coordinator can do everything that a church admin can do, except they can't add or remove other users from your team, and they can't access billing and subscription information for the add-ons if you choose to get those. But they can do everything else. So you're empowering them to manage your contacts for you, essentially. And then you're going to save that. And then that person is going to get an email to invite them. So this is what it looks like when you get, it's kind of hard to see, but it says, "Hi, Associate Pastor, use this link to complete your account setup," and then you click that link and it lets them choose a password. And you definitely want to let your people know, hey, you should be expecting an invite from Interest Tracker, so they know what that is. So now we have our coordinator, and we want to add a couple of other volunteers. We want to add our ministry leaders, right? So we're also going to add our Bring a Friend ministry, and they're going to be not a church admin or a coordinator, but a basic user. And a basic user can only see and interact with information that is related to interests that are assigned to them by the coordinator. So they can't see everybody. So in this way, you can kind of control privacy, exactly. Because we're having sometimes sensitive conversations with people, right? And we don't need their information all over the place.
Yeah.
So we're going to make them a basic user. And then we're going to add community services. Make them a basic user. And then we're going to add the school ministry. And we're going to make them a basic user. Okay. So now, oops. I have to move it over here to get it onto the right person, but I'm actually going to show you what the coordinator's view looks like, how they assign interests to people. So let's leave this one, go to, okay, so now this is what it looks like when you are a coordinator. And as you can see, we no longer have the user management tab over here. We don't have the upgrade tab in our main menu here, but we can see all of our interests. And we're just gonna start assigning people because nobody's assigned to anybody right now. We have tasks assigned to people, but not. Now, I could go through all of these pre-interest tracker contacts that we have here and just click them one by one, but the easier way would be to search for that tag and go pre, and now that's all we see. We can just go select all, and then we can assign that to, and we're just gonna assign this to Pastor Sherman because these are the people that he's been talking to. And then we're gonna apply that. And it confirms interests have been updated, and now we can see all those interests are assigned to him. He's going to get an email saying that they were assigned to him. So in your basic users as well, you know, whenever they get a new person assigned to them, they'll get notified. So this one ACS contact, we're gonna assign her to community services person. And the school parents, we're gonna assign them to the school ministry, the school ministry leader. And our Bring a Friend Day contact, we're gonna assign them to our Bring a Friend ministry person. And so now everybody's assigned to someone. Everybody is matched up with somebody that's gonna minister to them. We have Pastor Sherman has his core group that he's working with. Our school ministry has their people, Bring a Friend Ministry has their people, and community services will be getting everybody from ACS. And nobody's left out, right? So let's see, what else should I show you? We've got about a couple minutes here. Show you the configuration. So let's show you some of the customizations. So like, you know how I said like you can add whatever decisions you want, you can add tags, you can add offers, like if you're doing Steps to Christ or Bibles or something. Like let's go to offers. And like these are the default ones, but we can add like free Bible. Oops. And you always want to click show and drop. You always want to have it say show and drop. I don't know why that's an option. And then that'll now be an option when you want to start an offer request workflow. If somebody requests a Bible, you can now choose Bible as an offer. Decision types, we're going to add the one you said. Attend church. And like this abbreviation is, the reason that there's an abbreviation is because when you're looking at it in the like table, it just makes it smaller. So like if we go, let's actually go to the interest list and we can change our columns that we're seeing because it's not one of the columns that is default, but you can choose, which columns to see. So as you can see, if like we were to choose all of these, it would get pretty crunched. So, which you can do, but having it abbreviated helps. And then when you hover over it, it tells you what it actually is. I know it's really small, but this was when Ferris from the nursing home agreed to keep the Sabbath, and we can see that. And then If you want to output a report, you can see like, you can output a CSV, you can output a PDF, a printable version of this, an Excel file. You can just copy it to your clipboard with whatever selection that you make. And then there's also your activity report, which shows you all the activity, an overview of all the activity in your church over the last whatever time period you choose. You can just choose it and generate a report. And there's not a lot of information on here right now, but as you keep using it, you'll start seeing more, and you'll start to see patterns, and you'll see, okay, I can see that this is working and this isn't. How can we change that? And as a leader, that's super important, right? So I think we're pretty much at time. Are there any questions as we wrap up, or?
Is this from Sermon View?
Yeah, Sermon View developed this. So if you go over to the Sermon View booth, you can actually talk to them more about it. They have handouts about it as well. I was actually going to bring them and I forgot them, but they're over there at our booth. You can also, if you want more info, you can go to interesttracker.org. They have a whole bunch of training videos on there that show you more things than what I went over, more advanced uses, and like if you do decide to get add-ons, like how to use those with the basic features. And you can
purchasing software, or are you purchasing a subscription? Like, is there a monthly?
It's a subscription. You can choose to do it monthly or annually, but that's only if you get an add-on. The add-ons are like text messaging, and like there's a subscription if you're like a conference leader and you want to see an overview of multiple churches, and there's a subscription for like the streaming video thing. And so there's like a lot of extras in here, but you don't have to get those at all to use it. And then it also, if you go to interesttracker.org, you can sign up to get a personal demo as well. So there's like a little form you can fill out if you want to see more of it demonstrated to you.
What about a training? Like once you get all your leaders together?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Who will come in and show you the whole thing?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. Yep. So, any other questions? Comments?
This is really cool.
Seems to have a lot of things you can do, so
Yeah.
handy thing to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody came over here. It's good. It's a good program.
Yeah, and it's low risk, so it's free to sign up, and easy. It takes like 30 seconds to create an account, and just play around with it. I would encourage you, there's no harm in just trying it out and seeing if it does those things that we talked about, that a software should do to help you, right?
Oh, so let's say you're the administrator, is there a page where you can see, just in like one page, all the additions? So like, let's say an elder went and visited someone, another elder went and visited. Can you see like all the brand new information, or do you have to click on all the names and see if anyone visited, or?
You can see them all. So it's the same view as a coordinator or as a church admin, so I'll show you. So this is what the list looks like of interactions.
Like chronological, it's got the ones at the top would be the newer ones.
Yeah, but you can also, like on your column visibility, like a lot of these columns are sortable. So if you want to sort by something that's not showing there, just show it.
Okay.
Oh, created by was on there. And then you can, or no, that's not it. It's date.
Yeah, date.
Oh yeah, date's on there. Okay.
That's
So you can, if you click that column heading, you sort by that. So you can see it any way you like.
Cool.
Yeah.
This makes life so easy,
Yeah.
much easier.
Well, I hope you all get a chance to try it and let us know what you think. If you do try it, there's like a little feedback form too. So let us know. All right? Thank you so much for coming.
As I reflect on this presentation, one idea keeps coming to mind. Relationships are the heart of effective ministry. Well, what about this message stood out to you? Take a moment to think about what you found most fascinating and how you could apply it in your own ministry. What was the big idea for you? Reflection is so powerful. So when this episode ends, I encourage you to pause for 5 or 10 minutes and just let your mind explore the possibilities. This reflection time can be really powerful. Well, that's it for this episode. We'd love to hear from you. You can send an email to podcast@propelconference.org. And please mark your calendar for our next Propel Conference coming to Puyallup, Washington, April 27 to 30, 2025. Early bird registration ends soon, so register today at propelconference.org. Special thanks to Luci Peterson for speaking at the 2024 Propel Conference and to Sermon View for sponsoring this episode. This has been the Propel Podcast, inspiration and innovation to grow your church. The podcast is produced by the Sermon View crew, and the event recording services were provided by Adventist Learning Community. I'm Larry Witzel, wishing you God's richest blessing in your evangelistic journey. Please join us again next time for another episode of the Propel Podcast.